Your doctor might have lied to you about fruit, not intentionally, but the advice you received could be dangerously outdated. Right now, thousands of people with diabetes are avoiding the exact foods that could stabilize their blood sugar, while confidently eating the ones that spike it into the danger zone. I'm Dr. Natalia Parker, and I'm going to show you exactly which fruits are secretly working against you. Here's what nobody tells you. The fruit section of your grocery store is a minefield, and you've been walking through it blindfolded. Some of those colorful options sitting there looking innocent will send your glucose soaring within minutes. Others, the ones you've probably been avoiding out of fear, are actually protecting your body right now. The difference between the two isn't what you think. I've watched this confusion destroy people's confidence. Maria, one of my patients, stopped eating fruit entirely for 3 years. 3 years. She was terrified because her sister's doctor said fruit was basically candy. Meanwhile, her body was starving for nutrients it desperately needed. When she finally came to see me, her cholesterol was through the roof, her blood pressure was climbing, and she looked exhausted, all because she believed fruit was her enemy. But here's the twist that changes everything. The danger isn't in the fruit itself, it's in the speed and quantity of sugar hitting your bloodstream. And we can measure that precisely. There are 2 numbers that tell us exactly what any fruit will do to your body, and once you understand them, you'll never be confused again in that produce section. The first number is called glycemic index. Think of it like this. When sugar from food enters your blood, does it rush in like a flood, or does it trickle in slowly like a garden hose? A flood overwhelms your system. A trickle, your body can handle. High glycemic index above 70, that's a flood. Your pancreas panics, dumps insulin, your blood sugar crashes later, and you're hungry again within an hour. Low glycemic index below 55, that's the trickle. Steady energy, no panic, no crash. That's what we want. But wait, because that's only half the story. And this is where most advice falls apart. You can have a low glycemic index but still consume a massive amount of sugar if your portion is wrong. That's where the second number comes in. Glycemic load. This tells you the total sugar impact of a realistic portion. Not some tiny laboratory sample, but what you actually put on your plate. Low glycemic load, under 10, you're in the safe zone. High glycemic load, above 20, you're in trouble no matter how slowly that sugar enters. The magic formula, and write this down, is finding fruits with both low glycemic index and low glycemic load. Those are your allies. Everything else requires strategy. And I'm going to show you exactly which fruits fall into which category, but I need you to understand something critical first. There is no forbidden fruit. I don't believe in absolute prohibitions because they create fear, and fear makes you avoid nutrition your body needs. What I believe in is informed decisions. Some fruits you can eat freely. Some fruits require smaller portions and careful timing, but none of them are poison. The key is knowing the difference. Let me tell you about Robert, 72 years old, diabetic for 15 years, and proud of his discipline. Every morning, he'd make himself a smoothie: banana, mango, pineapple, a little yogurt, some ice, tropical paradise in a glass, he called it. Delicious, refreshing, and absolutely destroying his blood sugar control. His morning readings were consistently hitting 190, sometimes 200. He'd take his medication, exercise, watch his dinner portions, but those numbers wouldn't budge. He was doing everything right except for one thing. That smoothie was a sugar bomb disguised as health food. I had to explain to him that when you blend fruit, you're breaking down all the fiber that normally slows sugar absorption. Plus, he was using 3 fruits that individually already had high glycemic loads. Combined in one glass, he was essentially drinking the sugar equivalent of a candy bar. And because it was liquid, it was hitting his bloodstream even faster. He didn't want to believe me. For 15 years, that smoothie had been his ritual. His wife would make hers at the same time. They'd sit on their porch together. It was part of their morning, part of their life. But I asked him to try something for just 2 weeks. Replace the smoothie with whole strawberries and a small apple. Keep everything else the same, just change the fruit. Within 5 days, his morning readings dropped to 160. By week 2, he was hitting 145 consistently. Same medication, same exercise. The only difference was understanding which fruits his body could actually handle. He called me amazed. 15 years, he said. 15 years I thought I was being healthy. That's the power of knowing these numbers, and I'm about to share the complete list with you, starting with the 10 best fruits for stable blood sugar. These are the ones you can eat with confidence. But before I do, I need you to understand that I'm not guessing here. I'm not going by intuition or old textbooks. Every recommendation I'm about to make is based on precise scientific measurements of how these specific fruits affect glucose in real human bodies. We're starting with number 10 and counting down to the absolute champion. Number 10 is pears. Beautiful, sweet, satisfying pears. Glycemic index of 38. Glycemic load of 4. Those are exceptional numbers. If you're craving something sweet after dinner, reach for a pear, your blood sugar will barely move. Number 9, apples. But here's something crucial about apples that most people get wrong. You need to eat the skin. The skin contains pectin, a type of fiber that doesn't just slow sugar absorption, it actually helps remove cholesterol from your blood. People with diabetes have a much higher risk of heart disease, and that pectin is protecting you. Don't peel away your protection. Whole apple with skin, glycemic index 39, glycemic load 6. Perfect choice. Number 8, passion fruit. Glycemic index 27, glycemic load 5. Excellent for blood sugar, but here's an interesting bonus. Passion fruit contains natural compounds that help with sleep quality, and sleep quality directly affects your blood sugar stability. Poor sleep makes insulin resistance worse, so this little fruit is fighting on two fronts for you. But now we need to stop and talk about something that confuses everyone. Orange juice. This is important. I need you to listen very carefully because this might save your life. Fruit juice is not fruit. When you squeeze oranges into juice, you're throwing away all the protective fiber and keeping all the sugar. 3 oranges squeezed into a glass deliver about 25 grams of pure sugar that hits your bloodstream like a rocket. The glycemic load shoots above 20. That's danger territory. But if you eat one whole orange, segments and all, the fiber holds the sugar back. Glycemic index drops to 40, glycemic load falls to 5. Same fruit, completely different effect on your body. I had a patient named David who couldn't understand why his morning blood sugar was always high. We went through everything. Finally, I asked about breakfast. "Oh, I have fresh orange juice," he said. "I squeeze it myself. Very healthy." He was using a juicer every morning, going through 3 or 4 oranges. And every morning his blood sugar was hitting 170, 180. The juice was betraying him. I convinced him to try an experiment. 2 weeks eating whole oranges instead of juice. Within 7 days, his numbers dropped to 155. By week 2, consistently 145. He couldn't believe something so simple made such a difference. 15 years of juice, he told me. 15 years thinking I was being healthy. The juice industry has convinced everyone that juice equals fruit. For blood sugar management, they're completely different things. Number 7, back to our list, is kiwi. Glycemic index 38, glycemic load 9. Good numbers, but kiwi earns its spot for another reason. It's packed with compounds that help lower blood pressure. Diabetes and high blood pressure together are a dangerous combination. Kiwi fights both. That makes it worth adding to your regular rotation. Number 6, strawberries. This is one of my personal favorites. Glycemic index 41, glycemic load 3. Minimal blood sugar impact. But the real treasure is the anthocyanins, powerful antioxidants that protect your cardiovascular system. Heart disease is the biggest threat for people with diabetes. Strawberries are protecting your heart with every bite. If you can make strawberries a frequent dessert, do it. Number 5, guava. This is where things get really interesting. Guava has a remarkably low glycemic index of 23 and a glycemic load of just 3. Almost no blood sugar impact at all. And this is where I need to destroy a dangerous myth that's circulating online. Some people claim that fructose, the natural sugar in fruit, damages your liver. that people with diabetes should avoid all fructose. Completely false. Fructose is only harmful in concentrated industrial forms like high fructose corn syrup in sodas. The natural fructose in a guava or a strawberry is completely safe. It comes packaged with fiber, vitamins, antioxidants. Your liver handles it perfectly. Don't let internet rumors scare you away from healthy whole fruit. Number 4, avocado. Here's where we need to be strategic. Avocado has an incredibly low glycemic index of 10 and glycemic load of 2. In terms of glucose control, avocado is unbeatable. It's also rich in monounsaturated fats that raise your good cholesterol and protect your heart. But there's a catch. Avocado is calorie dense. Too much causes weight gain, and excess weight increases insulin resistance. So, while you can eat strawberries freely, with avocado, you need portion control. Half to 1 avocado per day is the sweet spot. Enough benefit, no excess. Number 3, peaches. Glycemic index 42, glycemic load 4. Absolutely safe choice. And this is a good place to answer a question I get constantly. Doctor, I have prediabetes, or type 1, or type 2, or LADA. Can I eat these fruits? Yes, this entire list applies to all forms of glucose metabolism problems. The stage doesn't matter. These fruits remain safe friends. Number 2, we're getting close now, is fresh peaches. Wait, no. Number 2 is actually plums. I meant plums. Similar numbers to peaches. Glycemic index around 40, glycemic load 4 to 5 depending on size. Excellent choice, often overlooked. And now, number 1, the absolute champion for blood sugar control. Fresh cherries, nearly perfect numbers. Glycemic index 27, glycemic load 6. Not only are they safe, they're loaded with anti-inflammatory compounds that protect your blood vessels. Inflammation damages your circulation, and diabetes already puts you at risk. Cherries are fighting that damage. But I'm talking about fresh cherries here. Never confuse them with those bright red maraschino cherries in syrup. Those are candy. Fresh cherries are medicine. That's your top 10, your safe zone. But now we need to talk about the other side, the fruits that require caution. And I'm warning you now, some of these are going to surprise you. You might be eating them regularly, thinking they're safe. Comment below and tell me which country you're watching from, because I'm seeing this confusion everywhere. We're entering what I call the yellow zone. Not forbidden, but demanding. These 5 fruits require smaller portions, careful timing, and honest self-awareness about your control. Number 5 in the caution category is mango. Delicious, I know. Glycemic index 56, glycemic load 14. That's pushing into medium-high territory. Many people defend mango by saying it has fiber. True, it does, but the sheer amount of carbohydrates overwhelms that benefit. The sugar wins. And this is where I need to address another dangerous trick people try. They think if they eat sweet fruit with chia seeds or flaxseed, it makes it safe. Listen carefully. Adding chia only slows the absorption rate. It does not reduce the total amount of sugar entering your body. You're spreading out the payment, but you still owe the full amount. Your pancreas still has to produce enough insulin to handle that load. Don't use chia as permission to eat unlimited sweet fruit. That's a trap. Number 4 on the caution list is pineapple. The acidic taste fools people into thinking it's low in sugar. Wrong. Glycemic index 59, glycemic load 14, similar to mango. Pineapple represents a real challenge for your blood sugar. Rumors online say it burns fat or detoxifies your body. Ignore that nonsense. For your pancreas, pineapple is a considerable load. Small portions only. Number 3, bananas. This is probably the most controversial one because bananas are everywhere. Glycemic index 62, glycemic load 16. To put that in perspective, remember avocado had a glycemic load of 2. A banana delivers 8 times more sugar load than an avocado. People argue with me about this constantly. But doctor, bananas have potassium, vitamins. They're good for muscles. All true. I'm not denying any of that. But if your main priority is stable blood sugar, the price you pay for that potassium is significant. If you really want a banana, divide it. Don't eat the whole thing. Half a banana in the morning is the limit. And here's something critical about bananas that applies to all fruit. Ripeness matters. When a banana is green, it contains resistant starch that your body processes slowly. As it ripens and those brown spots appear, that starch converts to pure sugar. The same banana can be a friend when slightly green and an enemy when overly ripe. Choose your moment carefully. Number 2, papaya. Excellent for digestion thanks to the enzyme papain, but glycemic index 58, glycemic load 12. The digestive benefit is real. The blood sugar risk is also real. Eat small portions. Don't make it a daily staple. But before I tell you number 1, we need to talk about 2 hidden dangers that are even worse than any fresh fruit. First, dried fruit, apricots, prunes, raisins. When you dehydrate fruit, you remove all the water but keep all the sugar. The sugar becomes concentrated in a tiny volume. The glycemic load usually exceeds 30. That's extreme. For someone with diabetes, dried fruit isn't fruit anymore, it's candy. My honest advice is eliminate it completely. Even a little is too much. Second hidden danger is fruit juice, which we already covered, but also smoothies. When you blend fruit, you're pre-digesting it. You're breaking down the fiber structure. The sugar absorbs faster. A smoothie with 3 fruits delivers the combined sugar load of all 3 fruits at rocket speed. Remember Robert's morning smoothie? 15 years of damage from something he thought was healthy. And now, number 1 on the caution list, grapes. Glycemic index 61, glycemic load 12. You'll hear about the French paradox, about resveratrol, about antioxidants. All true, grapes are rich in polyphenols. But here's the problem. They're small, sweet, and addictive. You plan to eat 5 grapes and suddenly you finish 20. The sugar absorbs very quickly. If you want to eat grapes, count them individually. Never eat directly from the bunch. That's a disaster waiting to happen. Now, many of you are waiting for me to mention one specific fruit, watermelon. Where does it fit? This is fascinating. Watermelon has a very high glycemic index, over 72. Sugar enters your blood fast. But its glycemic load is only 3, as low as strawberries, because 92% of watermelon is water. In theory, it's quite safe. But here's the real question. Can you eat one small slice and stop? Or do you keep going until you're full? That's the trap. The fruit itself isn't dangerous. The quantity is. If you have iron discipline, watermelon can be your friend. If you don't, that absorption speed will spike your glucose hard. And this brings me to something I need you to hear, because I read thousands of comments and behind every question about glycemic index and medication timing, I hear the same silent exhaustion. Doctor, I know I should eat better, but there's too much information. Too many rules, too many contradictions. I'm lost and don't know where to start. If that's you, listen to me now. Don't try to change everything overnight. That's the mistake that leads to failure. I understand your fear. Fear of hunger, fear of bland food, fear that your body won't tolerate sudden changes, especially if you're older. So forget the complete lists. Forget the complicated terminology. Today, I just want you to achieve one small victory. If you can only change one thing today, start here. Your breakfast. Why breakfast? Because it sets your blood sugar pattern for the entire day. A high sugar breakfast creates afternoon cravings and energy crashes. Try this tomorrow. Instead of bread with jam and sweetened coffee with milk, which is a classic sugar bomb, change it to 2 eggs, cooked however you like, with 1 guava or half an avocado. That's it. Simple. You won't be hungry. The protein keeps you satisfied longer. The fiber keeps glucose stable. You don't need to fix lunch immediately. You don't need to skip dinner. Just focus on getting breakfast right tomorrow. When you achieve that, when you feel your energy more stable and your mind clearer, you'll have motivation to improve lunch. Then dinner. Small steps in the right direction beat standing still out of fear. Progress, however small, is still progress. We'll walk this path together, one meal at a time. What you need to remember from today is this. The fight against diabetes isn't about prohibition. It's about intelligent choices. Prioritize the 10 fruits I listed earlier. Cherries, peaches, plums, avocado, guava, strawberries, kiwi, oranges, apples, pears. If you want to eat the 5 caution fruits, bananas, pineapple, mango, papaya, grapes, remember small portions, not too ripe, and never in dried or juice form. This isn't about perfection. It's about making better choices more often. It's about understanding you have options, that you're not helpless, that knowledge gives you power. If this information helped you, if something I said today clicked for you and made the confusion clearer, subscribe to this channel. Turn on notifications, because we create content here that almost nobody explains with this level of clarity and practical application. Small changes in what you eat, done consistently, create meaningful improvements in your blood sugar control. I'm Dr. Natalia Parker. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next one.